Hello, Brian. Here are your carburetors that you sent that have been rebuilt. Let's make some observations here real quick as we unpack them. This is way too much thread showing here, almost like you won't have any accelerator pump, or way too much accelerator pump. The only way we're going to know is get on the bench test it. I like to double check the float bowl levels and then see how much is actually being discharged through the nozzle right in here. That nozzle right up in here, and that is a function of how much adjustment we've got right here. Let's see what else we got. Don't need don't need this, just a vent tube at the top of the carburetors. You don't need a hot choke mechanism, which is, by the way, missing a spring that goes from here. You can see where the spring is dug into the arm right here, and then the spring attaches over to this point over here, and you should see the spring have dug in underneath. There, that's where the spring grabs, so you're missing your spring. Let's slice this open. See what we got here. Here's the second carburetor hiding someplace. I don't know why I've got this fuel line and why it's chopped in half. What we got down here? Oh, carburetor hiding. Nice. Get all the bits out of it here. Let's see what we got. Alright, first we're going to check our pre-atomizers. Okay, let's see, these things are going crosswise in the throats. And they're supposed to be tight in there. This one is not very tight, or not tight enough. But then what happened? Let's explain it to you here. You know what I need to do? Let me get my headlight here on so I can use my fingers for pointing. All right, much better. Pointer. All right. This is a mechanical seal right here. That means there is nothing in here to keep these from leaking except the actual pressure of this jam screw and nut forcing this pot metal and a pre-atomizer up against the inside of the body of the carburetor. And that means you gotta have these things on there really tight. And if they're not tight, they leak fuel right here, because this is a direct pathway right into the float bowl. Yeah, there's just a giant hole right up inside here for the fuel to get up in there. All right, check this one. It's not too bad. All right, let's see if we can get our fingers in here. This one. Okay. Not too bad. I still would like to pull them out and check them for contact. So let's see. I was going to check the other carburetor for the accelerator pump. Threaded rod. All right. Now, what I was telling you over the phone is when I pulled one of these out was what I did was I understand here. You've got it looks like the original butterflies in here. Original butterfly screws. This is way too much slop in here. Way too much slop. Can you hear it? As I said, when I look through the throat of the carburetor, you have to hold it up to the sun. It's the only way you're going to see anything. But let's see if I can duplicate it here with a bright light behind here. All right. All right, can you see that? This is supposedly closed, and yet you can see light coming through there. Well, that means it's won't idle properly. Same thing here. This one is closed. Let's take a look, see what we got here. All right. Well, I don't. I just might as well not even put them on the test engine. I'm just wasting my time and your money. But I'll do it anyway, just to give you an idea of how much air is flowing through here. But let's do this again. Make sure that I didn't move it or anything. Yeah, you can see the light flashing back there. It's just like non-existent. And so these are supposed to idle on the first barrel of each carburetor only. First barrel only. Problem is, if this barrel is open, it's going to start processing air through here, and you're going to have to start adjusting your idle mixture screw to help to give you the proper fuel into this throat. But the problem is, this is supposed to be completely closed off because this is not supposed to be processing any air. It's supposed to idle only on the first barrel. Let's see, let's take a look here. And something strange going on here because this is just barely touching, and you should have more threads coming out of the idle adjusting screw. Okay. Same with this. In fact, this one here has been bent for some odd reason. This is supposed to be straight right here. This is supposed to be straight, not bent. And it's just no threads here to contact. All right, that just doesn't make sense. So, but you've got okay, and you got a ridge in here. Can you see that ridge? Let's see if I can get. Yeah, can you see that ridge right there? That's the second barrel is supposed to slam home. Let's say you've accelerated and you got both barrels open, and then you back off on the throttle. Well, the throttle linkage is here, backs off the throttle. It slams it shut here, and then you got this mechanical linkage right here that forces the second barrel closed, and what it does is slams home, and it makes a ridge in here because this is supposed to slam home and close off completely. There's no ridge, never a ridge in the first barrel because the first barrel never closes completely. In order to set these things up to begin with, you back off on the screw here until this is completely closed, and then you screw this in 1.5 turns, and that's your initial setting for idle. And then after that, you start your you do your idle settings with this screw right here, and this never closes. That's why there's never a ridge inside the first barrel. But there's one on the second barrel, which means that this is not going to close completely because as you wear this ridge in here, and the throttle shafts wear, you get an oval shaped pattern in here, and so the butterfly never closes in the same place and never closes at all. Let's see if this one has to say for itself. Okay, ridge in there as well. So again, these are not going to close off and seal. All right. Although they were trying to, because you should have a little bit of play. So I'm holding It's hard to do with one hand. All right, I'm going to hold this closed right here and come over here and see if we got any play on the second barrel, and we don't. See, this should be adjusted so we have just a little bit of slop in this butterfly right here, and we don't. So what that means is that if you screw this in too far to try to force this closed, it's possible to actually force this closed, screw this in too far, and then you are artificially opening the first barrel to where you have an idle that is adjusted by this screw and not by this screw. So let's take a look and see what we got in the way of our float just for fun. We'll check our float settings here. I don't know what the camera's pointed at, but it doesn't matter because it's going to take me a second to undo these. Let's see what we got in the way of float settings. And also we're going to inspect the check valve inside the carburetor. We call it the calibrating sleeve, and see what it looks like in here. So first of all, we're going to take a look at our the float level. Okay. So we want float level 39 to 40, and what we're measuring is this little. There's a half moon right here. Let's see if I can make that more. Maybe I should get a GoPro. That might work a little bit better. Okay. I said a half moon. It's not. It's a full circle, but you just use the top half of it. All right. This is what you want right here. All right. And what we're looking for is from here up to here. Let's see if I can see this. From the gasket up to the hard to see through the camera. So we're measuring at that half circle there, or the top of the circle. We're going to this top of the circle right here. Let me get my glasses on so you can see this. Sorry for the bad camera work, but I'm just pressed for time and I don't have a GoPro. So it looks like our float level is 36. And from the gasket, okay, there's 30, 35, 36, and we should be at 39 to 40. So the float level is too low. Or, let's see, it's going to be too high. Anyway, it's incorrect. All right. Also, I don't understand why you've got stripped out threads right here. We always helicoil these threads, top and bottom, or sides and the bottom. The pot metal pulls out. Also, got these black gaskets here. The correct original gaskets are red. That's what the correct original gaskets should look like, and they have the best ability to withstand the miserable fuels we have these days. Also, this, as I say, we're going to check this the calibrating sleeve down inside here. It's hard to. Anyway, it's this little fella down inside here. It's impossible. I wonder if I can turn the flash on this thing. Anyway, can you see down there? That little brass thing right there is a calibrating sleeve. It has to measure discreetly the fuel going into the accelerator pump. Diaphragm. Oh, hang on, I got to deliver. Yeah, come on in.